So many people believe that Ryan Hollins is one of the worst analysts of all time because of the takes he's had in the past weeks since Stephen A. Smith has been gone, and he has had a lot of bad takes, starting with this one about LeBron and the Lakers and who the leader is.
I would put that roster up against anybody, and in some ways you could favor it over the Clippers. But if I asked 10 different people, 20 different people who the leader of the Lakers was, you would get multiple answers. Rob Pelinka? Is it Clutch Sports? Is it LeBron? Is it Vogel? Is it Kidd? Is it Genie? There is no clear-cut leader.
I get what Ryan is saying here, saying there's no clear-cut leader in the Lakers. Is it Frank Vogel? Is it Jason Kidd? Is it Genie Buss? But who really believes that it's not LeBron? That LeBron doesn't have a lot of power behind the scenes? Because there's not someone like Pat Riley, like Max says, like there was in Miami. There's not that respectable figure in the front office that LeBron feels comfortable with leaving the Lakers. So who else is it besides LeBron? On the court and off the court, LeBron has a lot to do with the moves that the Lakers make to make sure he's comfortable so they can win the most games possible. But I don't think anyone out here is really saying that Jason Kidd or Frank Vogel or Genie Buss are really running the Lakers. It's LeBron, like I said, on and off the court. But again, I get what Ryan House is saying. It's not just a completely bad take, but like Mike says early in the segment, he says, it sounds like a trick question to really ask this, who's the real leader of the Lakers? LeBron has always had a lot of power in the front office, and once he learned this, he took advantage of it, and I think it's no different with LA.
There is no clear-cut leader.
And to finally close out the first take, get it? I do know what Ryan House means when he says there's no clear-cut leader in LA, because there's no Pat Riley, like Max said, in Miami. Like there's nothing like that in LA. So there's a lot more questions about who the actual leader is. Is it Frank Vogel? Is it Jason Kidd? Is it Clutch Sports? Is it LeBron? Is it Rob Pelinka? But I think the clear leader is LeBron, and that's on and off the court. Secondly, in this next take, Ryan Hollins talks about how Giannis is the most overrated player in basketball. I'm pretty sure this was when the Bucks just got eliminated by the Raptors, and would be the perfect time, I guess, for one of these arguments to call him overrated because he got eliminated for the playoffs.
I remember somebody talking about how Giannis was going to dunk his way through the playoffs and yada, yada, yada. Listen, this man is right now, he's the most overrated in basketball. Is he a good basketball player?
Whoa.
Yeah, I love him. I like him. I like what he.
I'm sick. You are a hater. You go from hating on Kawhi to hating on Giannis. Giannis isn't overrated.
He's absolutely overrated.
Proceed.
Now, when you first hear this take of Giannis, the MVP being overrated, it does sound very outrageous at first. But once you hear what Ryan says further in the take, he says he thinks he's overrated because he grossly underachieved. This is exactly what Ryan says. He says he grossly underachieved with missing the finals. Now, Giannis' age, missing the playoffs or the finals by 2 games isn't really grossly underachieving. I think Giannis obviously didn't play as well in the conference finals that he did in the regular season, but to me, this doesn't make him overrated. But Ryan is saying he got shut down by the Raptors defense as a collective, not just Kawhi, but they all played great defense on him to stop him and render him not useless, but ineffective in some spots of the game. And again, like with the LeBron thing, I could see where Ryan is coming from in some spots. It's not just completely wrong and outrageous like people make it seem. There are some other great players in the league like Russ and Harden who might underperform and underachieve in the playoffs and have a stigma around them overall as an underperformer, a guy who shrinks in high leverage moments, meaning obviously the playoffs and big stages like that. But I wouldn't be so quick to call these guys overrated. Giannis is still young, but I guess Ryan was saying to put him with names like Kawhi, LeBron, KD, and Steph, you can't underperform in a big stage like the conference finals.
So Ryan, what do you think? Where should CP3 land?
Listen, I'm not number punching. I'm not trying to figure too many different things out, but he has to go to Philadelphia. If I'm Chris Paul, I'm on the phone. Philadelphia. I'm on the phones. I'm working the system with my agent. If I'm Elton Brand, I'm calling around seeing if Chris Paul can get a buyout situation because they can't afford that contract. And if he gets in that level, in that offense in Philadelphia, the one thing they desperately need, and no disrespect to Ben Simmons, and maybe they can learn because there's a big enough age gap, a difference there, is they need a floor general.
So I think this is the worst take yet by Ron Hollins in this video because what is Ben Simmons right now for the Sixers? Is he not the floor general? Is he not the main playmaker? They didn't give him a max extension to be taught by a 34-year-old point guard who's making $40 million a year. If you're going to pay someone $40 million a year, they need to be your second, at the very least, third best player. And the Sixers aren't going to trade the little depth they have right now to bring in Chris Paul. Chris Paul needs to go to a team where he is the main playmaker and no one else is in contention for that spot. And again, Ben Simmons just got a big extension. So the Sixers want him to be the guy now. Right now. They didn't pay him $170 million over 5 years for this extension to be taught by Chris Paul. Now this last take probably does beat the previous take for the worst one. Ron Hollins tries calling the move of KD and Kyrie to Brooklyn overrated because if they don't win a championship, then it's overrated. I don't know how he's calling it overrated now. Just watch the clip.
But you try to tell me you're a truth teller.
I'll give you one.
Okay.
I'll give you one.
Okay, here we go.
I am intrigued.
Ready?
I'm not fully sold on Brooklyn right now.
KD and Kyrie?
Sold on Brooklyn.
Wow.
I'm not fully sold on Brooklyn.
KD and Kyrie is overrated.
I'm not fully sold. I'm not all in.
Now this take really doesn't have an explanation. It's just pretty much overall terrible. He says, and this is how he explains it in the video. If KD and Kyrie don't win a championship together, then the move is overrated. But then Will Kane asks if Kawhi doesn't win a championship in Los Angeles, is it overrated? He says yes. And to call a move overrated before something happens, it's just the reasoning just doesn't make sense. If the Nets never win a championship and end up having to trade Kyrie and KD when they're older, then okay, at that point you can call it overrated because they didn't win. But to call overrated now before they haven't even played together, so it's hard to even try and explain his reasoning because it doesn't make sense at all. So this is the final take, and this is by far the worst one. There's no explanation to this one. KD and Kyrie, two top 10 players, calls the move overrated because reasons. I don't know how to explain this one. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Roshan with Hoops Times 2. Subscribe if you love the NBA and want to see more content like this. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, and peace out.